What's up, guys? Welcome back. Going into hour 2 of week 7 here of RollPlay R&D Numenera. Let me unmute you. Steven, take it away.
So, Pocket,
Yes.
you've just discovered this this small tube with a little trigger in this drawer. As almost as you pulled the drawer entirely out, you just barely tripped this thing. What do you do?
Question
You
for
haven't-
you: it's on the drawer, not on the latch to the secret part of the drawer? Yes.
Correct. Well, it's kind of like, you know how a drawer is kind of like this?
Yeah.
It's-
Yeah.
The canister is actually attached to the dresser, and then as the drawer pulls out, the back lip of the drawer was pressing against this trigger of this canister.
Gotcha. Okay. Can I use? Let me see here. Can I use one of my? I have both engineering and let me see here. You look. You have my list of things.
Yep.
Can I use any of my? Look, I have too many abilities in front of me. Can I use any of my abilities to mess with that a little bit and try and pry it out?
Yeah,
Can
I would say
engineering
so.
or something like that work on that?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Absolutely. Go ahead and give me a roll.
Oh Jesus! Maybe I don't want to do this. F it. Who cares? Let's do it.
Yeah.
Why not?
Oh,
I will use XP. I will use XP.
That's
gonna ask.
Jesse. That's why not right there.
That is a why not reason.
That's a why not reason.
All right. Well, goodbye, XP. I knew you well. Okay, let me get rid of that real quick. Back to 0. Great.
Mm.
Used all my 20s on being a badass, apparently. Oh, come on, baby. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. You can't see my face right now, but this is the time you should be able to see my face because I'm...
He's probably going like this.
Oh,
Yes, I'll take it.
Oh yeah, look at that. Awesome.
Nice.
Okay, so yeah, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to take it out or dismantle
yeah, I want the
it or
canister. I
disarm it?
want the canister.
Okay, yeah. You managed to it's just sort of attached with little strands of wire that are sort of looping it in to the dresser. So you just untie them and pull out the canister, no problem.
Great. Can I determine what the canister is, or is it just gas?
You could sit down and fiddle with it for 15 minutes or so and figure it
I
out
choose
that
not
way.
to. I choose not to.
Okay.
All right. I'd like to open up the actual. I'd like to pull out the dresser and open the hinge.
Okay, yeah, you push down in the back of the dresser drawer, and the whole bottom of the dresser or of the drawer sort of tilts up as you put weight on the back of it. And there's a hidden compartment underneath where there is a draftsman's workbook of blue lined graph paper, and another book with the title gilded on the cover on the nature of memory.
All right.
What do you do?
I take both books
Okay.
and can I flip through them and see what the gist is inside really quickly?
Yeah, absolutely. You flip through. Which one do you flip through first?
One is notes, kind of, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to flip through that, but also use my decipher skills so I can try to figure out what the hell is going on in them.
Sure. Yeah, you start flipping through Nicodemus's notes on the device that he keeps downstairs. And as far as you can see, it's just schematics and electrical diagrams and pages on pages of mathematical theory. Give me a roll.
Okay.
Okay. You can't get much, given that you're just flipping through it really quickly. You think if you sat down with it and took some time, you could get more meaning out of it. You do notice that same equation that you found amongst his notes earlier. Let me show this to you. It's this one, 72 phi over 197 lemniscate. You notice that popping up a couple of times. So it seems as though that same theory is underpinning not just the work that he's looking at with regards to uploading data to the datasphere, but also underpins his work with communicating with the deceased memories of individuals.
Okay.
That's all you get from the notes. Are you gonna look for? You're gonna do the same with the book.
Yeah, I'd
On the
like
nature of
to go
magic?
through the other book as well.
Yeah, go ahead and give me a roll on that. In
Sure
addition.
thing.
Yeah, similarly, you see that it's just someone's treatise on how memories are formed and stored, and how some cultures seem to have sort of a collective memory. There are entire chapters dedicated to like the idea of collective memory and collective unconsciousness. There's a couple drawings of like sort of memory scapes, like mazes and sort of vistas of otherworldly, otherworldly impact, things like that. Likewise, without sitting down and really reading through it, you can't get a whole lot. Have you ever sat down with the book that he gave you before, like with the notes that you took from him?
No, we've never had time.
Might be a good time to devote some time to thumbing through this stuff.
All right, sure, yeah. So I will, while everyone else is eating dinner, because I don't want to be a part of that, I will sit in his room and read all these books.
Okay.
Take the time to do that now.
Yeah, sure. And the rest of you, what are you doing this evening?
I'm eating dinner, I guess.
I'm gonna eat, and then I'm gonna rest and level up.
Sick.
No,
I
kind of.
I would love to get an opportunity to maybe try to talk to Nicodemus a little bit
Does
more
Nicodemus
about,
join us for dinner?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, there
maybe just ask him a little bit more about what these other Aeon priests are collecting in their little library.
Can we talk
yeah,
about
well,
that during dinner?
Yeah, he joins you over dinner. He pours out a couple goblets of some kind of sweet wine. He's drinking and eating along with you guys. What exactly do you want to know? You want to know about this other group?
Yeah,
of
yeah. I mean, I guess like dinner begins, and Amelia speaks up and says, "Nicodemus, you told us about the passive priests, and you told us a little bit about how they choose to lock away the secrets. So what are they trying to lock away, and are they trying to protect these secrets from people like you and me, or are they trying to use them for their own benefit?"
It's simply a difference of philosophy, my dear Amelia. It's that they believe that there are some elements of past society, past generations, which are not meant to be recreated or stored or known by modern society, and I simply disagree. I believe that only by standing on the shoulders of giants can we achieve the greatness to which our civilization was destined. And it greatly frustrates me. I have been seeking access to some very ancient stores of knowledge for many years, but I have been unable to access all of the information that I need to find out enough to complete these experiments with ether lattice manipulation. It is most unbearable.
If you had access, if you and the priests like yourself had access to this information, what would you do with it?
Why, we would attempt to use it for the betterment of society. Imagine a world where the greatest minds and the staunchest defenders of humanity are granted immortality through the uploading of their minds into the datasphere and the encoding of their personality into the very fabric of the world in which we live. Can you believe how far we would come if we weren't burdened by our frailty and our mortality?
Nicodemus, you'll have to forgive me. I'm having a difficult time. On one hand, I'm not sure that I agree with the research that you're working on. Even what you demonstrated earlier this evening is, yes, agree. But Nicodemus, I also am not sure that I agree with the other side of the Aeon priests and what they are doing.
Of course not. They're idiots.
I kind of look to Bleen and Triple A and just sort of quizzical look, like, what do you make of all of this?
As you look over at me, like, what are we eating, Steven? Besides drinking this,
It's
sweet wine?
It's like a soft mashed grain that's been boiled and steeped in a number of spices. It's very tasty, very flavorful, kind of
So,
zesty.
is it like a soup?
It's kind of like a curry almost. And then there's like some starchy vegetable that's sliced up and fried on both sides. So it's quite tender and
Okay,
delicious.
you look over at me and this, like, you've noticed it throughout the entire dinner probably, but I'm just like, I'm just like looking at everyone like I don't want to say anything. I'm way in over my head with all this techno babble.
You're just like shoving food in your mouth to
Yeah,
avoid
and
speaking.
I'm just
like
kinda
someone
like-
turns to you and they're like, "What do you think, Blaine?" And you're like,
Yeah, I just give thumbs up and kind of like shrug my shoulders and look dumb.
And as he looks at me, I put down my glass and I peer over at Amelia, and then I look back at Nicodemus, and I say, I agree. Amelia has made a good point that perhaps neither of you are doing the right thing.
But you have seen the glory of past civilizations and their ability to work wonders that we today are completely incapable of. Why, you were there in the hive of the grueling mentats, and you saw their ability to call other dimensional beasts to their service, and true, in that instance, they used that talent to enslave the creature and use it as a conduit for their mentality, but nevertheless, you can see the impact
But don't
of
you
these
think
things.
that will happen over and over again? As we've seen, like you said, with history continually repeating itself, we never cease to learn. We continue
Yes.
to continually use things for the wrong reasons.
Simply burying our heads in the sand is no way to live our lives. We deserve to know. We deserve to strive. There are stars in the heavens, AAA, that move against the cosmic order. What can they be? Who knows? Who among us on Earth today can describe their actions and behaviors? No one, because their nature is lost to all of humankind. There are many things, and many things are bad. I've heard. Do you tell him about destroying the mine? I forget.
We told him what had happened, yeah, but we didn't tell him exactly, like.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Uh,
he's aware of what happened at the mine. He doesn't know what happened at the obelisk.
Yeah, the
Right.
obelisk, with the mentats.
Yeah. And he says, you know that beneath the mine there was a great source of power, and perhaps yes, it was problematic, and obviously it led to a disaster, and that's most unfortunate. But not everything from the past is bad or evil or dangerous. There are many things, many secrets to longevity and health that we can recover and use for the benefit of mankind.
For sure. And that is, I've never said that is not something that is true. I just stated that perhaps using it to try to gain this immortality that you wish for is not the best. And obviously, hiding away all this great knowledge that could help us as civilizations continue to grow, I don't agree with that either.
Indeed. Good. I'm glad we've come to an understanding. Oh,
And I look back at Amelia
And
once again.
Nicodemus, who will protect you? Once you unlock all of this great information and artifacts and other items of great importance, who will protect you when undoubtedly another civilization will think that they are the ones who need to have said information? Will you just use this to defend them off? Will you use it to protect yourselves? Is, as AAA said, this just a cycle that needs to be broken?
why I support the share of information freely among all humankind. Anyone who has the moral fortitude to use these things for good and for the
And how will,
furtherance
and
of
how will you
information.
judge moral fortitude? How will you ensure that this device you want to create to make people immortal will not get in the hands of the wrong person?
Well, if I understand correctly by my current studies, it's only a one-use device at the moment. We would need to find a way to recreate it again once it's been used. But these problems, they are solvable. I would rather spend my life's work attempting to solve these great problems than to simply bury my head in the sand and wait for the sun to burn out.
Please.
Pocket.
Yes.
While they are downstairs discussing philosophy, what are you doing?
Reading through all the books. First, starting with the one I originally got,
Okay.
and then working to the notes, and then just same order we had before.
Okay, so you're starting with the book that you originally pulled out of his notebook sack when you first arrived in town.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. You sit down, and they're downstairs eating for like an hour and a half or something like that. So you start digging through it quite aggressively. It's just pages on pages on pages of equations regarding the ether lattice manipulation that he was talking about. And many of them are over your head. Do you want to try and comprehend them?
Sure, why not? I mean, yeah, yes, I do.
Give me a roll.
There
14. These things are way over your head, man. This is like some Aeon priest's life work to, claw these equations from the fabric of the universe and inscribe them on the page. And every once in a while, that same sequence that you've seen a couple of times repeats. But by and large, it's all Greek to you.
Okay. Can I take that first book and cross whatever it is, analyze it with the other two books, and
Cross-reference it?
See, cross-reference. Thank you, and see if there's any connection between all three books.
So the notes are Nicodemus's schematic for building the communication device that's set into his sub-basement or whatever. So there's not a whole lot of theory there. That's all practice. But on the nature of memory, you certainly could try and cross-reference in order to try and find out more information. Okay. So you spend your last 45 minutes combing through on the nature of memory, and you start cross-referencing the two. On the nature of memory also talks about equations of the same variety, but it differs in a couple of key places, and you're noticing that the equations have segments that match and then small segments that are different and then segments that match again. Give me a roll. So it's almost more instinct right now than anything else. But looking at the first notebook of Nicodemus's theoretical notes on ether lattice manipulation, you don't think he's got it right. You think he's got something wrong. There's one section of this book that really grips you on the nature of memory. And as you're flipping through, you remember before I mentioned that there were a couple of pictures of memoryscapes and dreamscapes and things like that. There's one page that's got it's got mazes scribbled all over it, just in black ink, just scribbled all over, just page after page after page of mazes. And there's even a little bright red splotch in the bottom right-hand corner of one of these pages. And as you look at it, you just sort of start, it sort of invades your mind almost, and you start finding yourself thinking more of these mazes than of the equations on the page in front of you. You try to refocus yourself, and your mind keeps drifting back to these mazes. What do you do?
I assume the dot is the starting location of where to start doing these mazes.
Yeah.
And so I quickly shut the book.
Okay.
And sort of put it down, because obviously there's something up with these mazes, and if I'm drawn more to these than anything else, something is wrong, and so I close the book, and I sort of like back away for a minute and pause and sort of think about the situation, try to recollect myself.
Mm-hmm. Make an intellect defense roll.
I actually do have intellect defense as an ability.
Mm-hmm.
So that should help, yes.
Yeah.
I hope.
Please.
Okay. Good. Yeah, you
Okay.
shake your head. You clear your head a little bit, and yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
there's
do
some
I do.
mazes in this book.
So they're about done with dinner. Is that what's happening downstairs? Or are they
Yeah,
still
I
at the
think
table?
so.
A few more questions for him, but
Yeah, they're still at the table. Let's go back. Let's hear what the current topic of conversation is. AAA.
You spoke of these blueprints. Perhaps you're willing to share them with us and show us how far you've gotten with the device?
Oh, well, you see, the device was a collaborative work between myself and Christos, and he keeps most of the blueprints at his location, which is very distant. I'm afraid it would be very challenging for me to share them with you.
And
I
how do you and Christos communicate then?
Why, through the panel on the edge of town. It is a long-range communication device which often I can use to contact my fellow Aeon priests.
Well, why don't we have a chat with him at a later time?
Yes, certainly, of course. And by all means, I open my notes to the four of you, as I have to Pocket upstairs, who neglected to join us for my delicious dinner.
Let Pocket be Pocket.
Yes,
He might just need some time to cool off.
I think he needs quite a long time to cool off.
And Christos,
Yes.
how are you in relation to him? Is he the one creating this device?
He is a fellow Aeon priest, and he has been interested in ether lattice manipulation for many years as well, and he sees it as a way of increasing the natural memory of man, rather than using it to upload all of a man's brain into the datasphere. He would simply upload segments of storable knowledge to the datasphere and use it as an expansion for the mind. I, of course, as an older and frailer man, I seek another purpose. His lower lip quivers.
And what purpose might that be?
Immortality! And he just like shovels food in his face.
Nicodemus, we've gotten power cores for you. We have activated a monolith so that you could speak to the other Ion priests. We have collected even more power cells for you.
Yes.
I can't help but thinking, as I mentioned in the previous session, that you are just grooming us for something else.
What? No. I have a lot of power cores that I need brought to me. Something else. What else? What do you have in mind?
I don't know. You tell me. We've been your errand boys and girls for the last month or so.
Yes, my research has advanced in the last month or so that you've been able to help me.
Let me bring up one more thing on Amelia's accord here. Tristana had stated to us that you have enough power cords of your own. Why would you have use for more?
Why, I attempted to activate the device while you were out, and it exploded, as you saw when you returned, and the device was shorted, so I needed new power cores. He looks at you very beguilingly. Do any of you have like a detect motives or like,
No,
any way
I
to
don't.
sense lying or anything like
I
that?
think
I
that's
do
like
not.
all Jesse, and he's abandoned us
No.
to
He's
read
just sitting
books.
Sorry.
upstairs,
Yeah, sorry.
racing through some mazes. Would one of you like to just give me an intellect roll?
Yeah, I would.
Okay.
I would.
Ooh.
Nice.
Damn.
Yeah. He's old. He's not entirely straightforward. He has sent you to the ass end of nowhere on minute, fetch and carry quests, but he is telling the truth. as far as you're able to tell, Amelia.
Just add that little snippet in the end there. Steven.
So even though I think Nicodemus is telling the truth, I feel that he's not being straightforward with us in terms of what he wants out of us.
Mhm.
So I want to sort of bluffingly throw out, well, we really appreciate all of the help that you have given us. Of course, you've let us earn our keep with the jobs, but we will, of course, be on our way soon enough to leave you to your studies and your shadow war with the other Aeon priests.
Oh, and he sort of looks a little bit saddened, and he says, "Oh, yes, well, if you must, I believe that I have what I need for now, and it will take me some more years before I decode the equations required to actually put my theory into practice. So, yes, perhaps that would be best. You're taking
Amelia?
Pocket with you, aren't you?"
Oh, Pocket says he really likes it around here. I suppose the decision's up to him.
Yes, quite.
And Amelia, we will perhaps have that talk with Christos in the morning before we make further on a journey. I don't know where journey came from, but
Jonah. Okay. Pocket, is there anything else you wanted to do this evening?
Yes, I take all 3 books and the canister downstairs to them at the dinner table before they finish up.
Yeah.
And then I place the 3 books on a table and place the canister next to our dear old friend.
Mm-hmm.
And just
He looks up at you with wide eyes.
give him a little smile. I don't say anything about what it is. I just put it down and leave it there. And then I turn to the others and say, I went through his books, and it turns out something is up, but he may not know what it is. Nicodemus might actually be just an old fool, and there's something in these that I think we together should look at. I then tell them...
You're just like saying that straight out in front of him.
As soon as he puts the book down on the table, I grab the closest one to me and begin like sifting.
And I not only tell them that, I tell them the reason why I was so hard on Nicodemus is because while they were out shopping, I let them know that my dad was obsessed with finding a way to contact the dead, with finding a way to talk to my mother who had died, and that this is, something that ruined my family, and that's why it has made me the person that I am. And I just can't, seeing my mother and the fact that my father didn't get to see her, or I guess hearing, I guess is what happened. And then knowing that this guy is basically just, he's an old coot. And there's something with these. There's a weird maze going on in these books that I wanted to trace them, but I couldn't. We should work on this together. No more secrets from you guys. I want to let you know what's happening. This guy's nuts. And I just lay it all out. Bam! Drop the knowledge bombs.
I'm like, as you're saying all this stuff, I'm drinking from the goblin. I just don't stop drinking the entire time. And when you finish, I like set it down and I'm like, I'll be back tomorrow. And I just like leave the building and I go and find Master Vix.
I get up one book in my hand and I slide the other one across to Amelia and I say, I'll look over this one, you look over the other, and tomorrow morning we'll come together. And I stand up, put my hand on Pocket's shoulder, and I say to him, I kind of shake him a little bit and be like, honesty goes a long way, friend.
It's true, Pocket. Amelia and AAA, would you each roll 1d3?
Sure. 1.
Okay. All right, cool. So, Amelia, you have Nicodemus's notes on the equations and the theory of ether lattice manipulation, and AAA, you have on the nature of memory.
So I have the notes on the ether lattice.
Yeah. and the remaining is the schematics for how to construct the device in the floor. Bleen, where are you going? What are you doing?
To find Vex.
Okay, good. Do you have like a location where you commonly meet with him? I mean, I remember that
I wouldn't
you
say
were.
that we constantly. I mean, he doesn't like hang out on a street corner or anything, Steven. He,
Are you sure about that?
Yeah.
I mean,
As
last
far
time
as
you did
I
meet
mean,
him.
I don't know. Maybe he needs money on the side. I'm not sure, but
Last time you met him at the.
I would say I just say we go to the Cthulhu dojo or something. I don't know.
So there's a Cthulhu dojo in town. All
Yeah,
right,
of
yeah,
course.
absolutely, totally.
You can't be a master without having a dojo.
Absolutely true.
It's dojo 101. Or mass. I don't know. That's something. It's fucking. Let's move on.
Yeah, you go to the dojo, which is like a large iron tower, sort of off to one side of town. And there's multiple floors with like, all sorts of like wooden stick figures for like practicing katas against, and like like mats on the floor that are kind of spring loaded so that you can do all sorts of falls and groundwork on them without hurting yourself too badly. And you walk in and there's a couple of students standing around sort of like willy-nilly, and like two people are off in the corner just sort of slap fighting at each other, and three people are sort of gossiping. And as soon as you enter, the entire like studio room goes silent, and it's like large steel cylinder tower room with like arched windows and oil burning lamps all around the side, lighting the twilight of this room. And they all turn to you when you enter, and then they all sort of look at each other as you enter, and then they just go back to their activities.
Do I see Vex anywhere?
You don't.
Are there side rooms in this building where he might live? Like, or I would assume his quarters maybe attached to the dojo or something like that.
He might. I think he lives on like the top floor of the tower.
Okay, yeah.
So you just have to like go up the spiral stairs and ascend a couple of floors to try and find his quarters.
Sure, I do that.
All right. You go up a couple floors into Vex's chambers, or you go up to like where his door is, and it's closed. And you smell like a faint sort of cinnamony smell on the air.
Is there? Do I recognize it?
Like,
have I smelled this before?
I don't think so. No.
Okay. I knock on the door.
There's no answer.
Is the door open, cracked open, or anything like that?
It's not cracked. No.
I knock on the door and wait at least a minute or 30 seconds to see if there's any response.
You hear nothing, and there's no response from the other side of the door.
Okay, I open the door and kind of just like speak in there saying like, Master Vex?